Well, a boy's best friend is his mother.
Happy Mother's Day, Wolfpack. Catastrophe here, and when I'm not grave robbing for the perfect gift for mom, I review for morbid joy. There's nothing more precious in this world than a parent's love for their child. But you know what's the worst thing a mother can ever be? A monster! Children love and adore their parents without question, as most are loving, gentle, nurturing, loyal, and protective of the being they brought into this mortal realm. However, some people are not cut out for motherhood, which is what we're here to discuss. Horror has spun numerous concepts into terrifying nightmares, and a big one is abusive parents. Any good parent cares for their family and raises them right, but what happens when there's the few who don't?
There's Mother now, watching me. What's that, Mother? Well, they have a right to be here. It's school business. Mother, that sailor suit doesn't fit anymore.
I think we should go.
The worst fear anyone, especially a young, vulnerable child, can encounter is a monstrous upbringing at the demonic hands of poor parentals. And this holiday, we're checking out some of the worst, seeing which parents are vile, which harm their family, or even which kill for their family.
Don't let her live. I won't, Jason. I won't.
Age is just a number. Since even long into adulthood, some mothers can be the fiercest horror ghouls imaginable. And I want to share some of the top poisonous parentals, the who's who of murderous mommies, demented psychos, killer corruptors, and overall icons of how not to raise your kids. Now, just a heads up, this is gonna be a villains list. These are the mothers who are not ideal examples to aspire to, and who nobody in their right mind would ever want raising tots. In short, terrible moms. So no positive female role models are gonna be featured here. Sorry Morticia Addams and Lily Munster fans, but we're aiming for psycho mommies only.
Stupid man thing!
We seek the scary faces who fit horror. Which matriarchs does your favorite cat list on that bill? Let's find out. These are my top 10 scariest moms of horror. Poor Carrie. Little Carrie White has the roughest childhood of any horror kid. She's a nervous wreck, totally shy, antisocial, has no friends, has no clue what the outside world is truly like, and is relentlessly picked on by everyone. But the biggest bully of all is her own disturbed cow of a mom. Margaret White's the defining picture of abusive parenting. She's a mentally unstable, self-righteous, nasty witch. A key reason as to why Carrie's so mentally unwell is because she's experienced little to zero happiness in her life whatsoever, mostly thanks to Mrs. White's piss-poor household. Margaret is heavily implied to have been a victim of abuse herself, but is in total denial that she's carrying on a cycle of the abuse towards her own daughter. She turned to the Lord as a way to cope with her flaws, only to instead use it as a shield to validate her evil. Mrs. White psychologically, emotionally, and even physically abuses her girl for the most minuscule of slights, even stuff that's entirely out of her control, like her puberty. Margaret's a religious hypocrite, believing that she's always in the right and that God would want her to harm her own kid, so her actions are just. Very much exposing how monstrous she is, as she herself is guilty of much sin. She prevents Carrie from dating, growing up, being interested in romance or sex, sex, and gaslights her into believing her own puberty is a sin against nature, as Carrie has no idea what her period even is, and assumes she's cursed thanks to Mommy's insanity. This girl deeply needs help, only to be treated as the villain. But just to make you hate her even more, Margaret herself is also so screwed up that she enjoyed being raped by her own husband, and views her daughter's existence as a punishment for feeling that way.
He took me with a stinking filthy roadhouse whiskey on his birthday. And I liked it. I liked it.
Freak!
Carrie growing up and needing guidance is only met with scorn and hatred from her own guardian, as Margaret would rather keep her a child forever, and even lock her away in an abuse closet to pray the evil away, overdoing anything meaningful herself, making it no surprise why Carrie ends up the way she is. Tragic events soon culminate in Mrs. White attempting to kill her own distraught daughter in delusional hate, as she views it as the only way to atone for good, showing how far gone she truly is. Tellingly, the best scene with her is when Carrie fights back and slays the creator who failed her. Mrs. White serves as the worst kind of mother, a parent who believes they're always justified in their twisted actions, and destroys their kids more than build them up. This witch was more demonic than her own supernatural school shooter of a daughter.
He's gonna laugh at you. They're all gonna laugh at you.
I am Alpha. And we only want one thing from you, my daughter.
Even in a grim world ravaged by flesh-eating ghouls, some humans stand out as the worst monsters. Alpha is the twisted, arrogant cult leader of a group dubbed the Whisperers. The Whisperers are a tribal gang of lunatics who've embraced the New World Order of the zombies, to the point of walking amongst them. They wear the skin of zombies upon their faces, act like walkers, bond with walkers, and work hand in hand with walkers. The leader of this pack is Alpha, the elite dominant queen bee guiding this community as her own personal army of zealots. And making matters worse, she crosses paths with the heroic coalition when they abduct her daughter, where she literally wages war over this as Lydia is her property. Similar to the comic, Alpha and Lydia have an unhealthy relationship, as her daughter has been abused and conditioned by her mother since the day she was born. While she claims to love Lydia in her own warped way, she cherishes her control more than family. Alpha has always been a deranged, self-righteous loon, even long before the apocalypse began. She'd physically and mentally abuse Lydia to be her loyal follower, brainwashed her into believing she's the good guy, always caring for her, would gamble with her life so carelessly, and as we learn, murdered her own former husband when he tried to take the girl away from her. Alpha told Lydia a false story about how her dad was the true abuser in their family, and died because he was the problem, only for this to be revealed as a total lie. Alpha was the abuser, and would lash out at both her husband and little girl for being weak, and when Daddy tried to escape her and steal young Lydia to protect, Alpha killed him and manipulated her tyke from day one. Lydia ends up rescued by the heroes and undergoes a redemption arc, bonding with the good guys and finding herself. But Alpha would not let this go, revealing that her abuser habits were adapted into her strategies as well. While at war with the Coalition, Alpha would abduct and kill several characters by beheading them and placing them on pikes as a warning to intimidate the heroes, maintain constant surveillance to watch them at all times, lie or go back on her word in order to maintain control, plant spies in every community to know all about them, sneak attack, always needed to flex her power to show strength, and sacrifice her legions of zombies or Whisperers to gain victory, while barely getting her hands dirty. And nearly all of this was over her daughter or ego.
They all follow me by choice. Because I make them strong. Because I keep them alive. Me.
The The Whisperers were never allowed to question her, or else they would be made examples of. And depending on which continuity you follow, she may have also killed the OG Alpha to rise up as the new one. Alpha became the anti-Carol of the show, a broken mother who would do anything for her children, but instead through many immoral actions to assert control upon Lydia over genuine love. Alpha's a true social Darwinist, believing that might makes right. And even when she's not a warlord, her attitude is pretty terrible in general, telling her troops that loss makes you stronger, culling the weak, and betraying anyone for a plus. Hell, she dumps her ex-husband for being a nice guy because he's too weak, yet whores herself out to bad dudes like Beta or Negan because she sees them as real men. This was also adapted out of the TV show, but Alpha also actively encourages rape amongst the Whisperers, where many women, including her own daughter, often got used like toys. In her mind, if a woman could fight them off, then she was strong, but if they could not, then they deserved it for being weak.
Fucking bitch.
Yeah, not exactly Mother of the Year. The entire war is over her daughter leaving her, which she denies and outright lies about, but really she's angered by her loss of control, and how the groups are not backing down from her threats. And in spite of claiming to love Lydia, Alpha eventually comes to the conclusion that her daughter has made her weak too, and slowly descends to killing her to maintain status as pack leader, losing all humanity if little she had left. A mom so depraved that she not only wages war on her kid, but also beheads her boyfriend as a message.
They follow me because I am the Alpha. And if the Alpha doesn't assert herself, then there's chaos.
Mother, is it really you?
Yes, Olympius. It is your mother.
Didn't think I'd forget my Power Rangers fans, did you? There's many wicked monsters among the Mighty Morphin universe, but the one who sticks out here is Queen Bansheera. This witch is terrifying. So terrifying that she traumatized generations of kiddies on the same level as Lord Zed. Her design alone is the creepiest, grossest creature the show's had. Ugly both outside and inside. The Dark Queen's a heartless, sinister, demonic conqueror who seeks to destroy the Earth by exterminating humankind in order to rebuild her palace upon the ashes of their remains, unleashing hell on Earth. And what do you know, she's also a garbage tier mother. Unlike some monster parents on the show, such as Emperor Scorpius or Rancic, Bansheera lacks all redeemable traits thanks to fully embracing her cruelty and power lust above all else.
They're all just trying to get my star power.
That's my star power.
Quiet, all of you! Your petty lies and hatred mean nothing. Rebuilding my palace is all that matters.
The demons, like Speed Rescue's villain team, all idolize and worship the great Demon Queen as if she were a caring mother towards her troops. But in reality, she is utterly soulless, cold, selfish, and evil incarnate. Her foot soldiers mean nothing to her, as they are all stepping stones towards her end goal of taking over the world.
Eventually!
And tragically, this includes her own son, Olympius. The show cleverly misleads us into thinking she's a good mother who at least cherishes her boy, as he's destined to inherit the throne and leadership one day. But as soon as the kid fails, any love she had for him quickly decreases. She loved Impus when he was useful to her, molded him into a perfect soldier, then ditched him at first trouble. I honestly felt so sorry for Olympius, because his drive and villainy is all out of a desperate attempt to gain respect from his own mom. He does everything for her. It's all for her. He seeks to one day be as great as her, ruling by her side, hoping to gain fulfillment and approval from her. Alas, he never will. Heck, after failing her one too many times, Queen Bansheera is such a bad mom that she considers dumping her boy in hell to be a good thing, since it's her way of grounding him.
Diabolico, are you responsible for exiling my son to the shadow world?
Yes, my queen, but...
Olympius was a failure. Let him rot there forever.
fucking guns.
The relationship between Olympius and Bansheera is so fascinating, especially upon rewatches where the demon generals all view him as a bad apple, unworthy of his place among the kingdom, because he's arrogant, selfish, and backstabs all, unlike their great queen and her divine nobility. But in reality, he's exactly like his mom. Turns out the rotten apple doesn't fall far from the rotted tree. He is a mirror of his mother, and is attempting to mimic her success to gain love from a soulless monster who sees him as nothing more than a pawn. And when Olympius ultimately dies in the finale arc, she doesn't care. Yeah, that's how little her own son matters to her. That's how little all her demon spawn matter to her. They exist because they help her sit atop her throne and bow before her power. And if they fail, she lets them die or kills them herself. While foes like Rancic and Scorpius ended up humanized and layered as people through showing how their family bonds were genuinely compassionate, Bansheera's the polar opposite, displaying how far evil can drive one to the point of betraying those closest to you, be they allies or your own kin. Queen Bansheera's a mother so wicked that a government-funded team of Power Rangers was formed to stop her.
Just don't fail me, or your fate will be far worse than my son's!
Well, I'm Mrs. Voorhees.
You knew this name had to be mentioned. Pamela Voorhees is an icon of the horror genre, since without her, the Friday the 13th saga would never have been born. If you somehow don't recognize this matriarch, this is Jason's mother. Once upon a time, Mrs. Voorhees was once a good, loving mom who took care of her mentally challenged tyke, Jason, in the safety of Crystal Lake. She loved her boy, adored him, protected him, taught him the skills of a hunter, and the two once had a healthy bond as the pair built a new life secluded out in the woods. But you know the story. Things went downhill when she admitted Jason to summer camp. Camp. Jason Voorhees ended up dead, drowning in Crystal Lake due to neglect from the counselors and ostracization from the campers.
Jason should have been watched every minute. He wasn't a very good swimmer.
His death drove her mad. So mad she resorted to killing. Mrs. Voorhees was thoroughly broken by grief, anguish, and the pain of losing her child. So she became a loopy psycho killer, slaughtering anyone who tried reopening the lake to the public. This eventually included her neighbor Steve Christie and his completely innocent counselors who were rebuilding the campgrounds, which led to an iconic 80s slasher still haunting our nightmares. Pamela may be the most tragic example on this list because she actually cared about her kid and became the villain to avenge his demise. She also sought to help parents avoid the same pain she suffered by forcing the camp to shut down. However, it's very clear she lost her mind and is unfairly venting out her rage upon a dozen innocent souls who had nothing to do with Jason, showing that she's descended hard, from loving mom to murderous lunatic. Here's Pammy! Betsy Palmer did a miraculous job forming this lady into an unforgettable slasher. Over time, more lore and depth had been added to the character to make her feel as deep as her son. Pamela came from a broken home, was also somewhat of an outcast, had Jason as a teen pregnancy, and loved Jason out of a desire to break her life's curse by forming a happy family, until tragedy struck like a corkscrew to the palm. Of course, this doesn't subtract any of her scariness, as what makes Mrs. V so creepy is how insane she's become, as she can't stop thinking about her boy's death, becomes blind with rage, smiles happily as she torments her targets, and hears voices in her head urging her to kill again, sadly revealing that this mother lost herself, broken by the pain of losing a son, though the rest of the world now only has reason to fear her as she's put her camp skills to bad use on her villain crusade. Pamela's slain a number of counselors, poisoned the water supply, burned their crops, and delivered a plague onto the Crystal Lake houses.
He did? Yes!
Oh, and I guess she lost her daughter she never spoke about too. But non-canon, Mrs. Voorhees didn't deserve to lose her kid, but she's a peak scary mother, because she shows us how personal loss can form one into something twisted.
Come, dear. It will be easier for you than it was for Jason. They changed the rules of the fairy tale. I'm no longer just the wicked stepmother. Now I'm the evil queen.
It's not a complete bad parents list without at least one wicked stepmother. And we have the most wicked of all. Julia Cotton is one of the best developed villains of the Hellraiser saga, as she literally grows from a terrible mother into the Queen of Hell, a feat as impressive as Queen Bansheera. In Hellraiser 1, Julia undergoes her villain origin. She was initially the cynical wife of Larry Cotton and begrudging stepmom to his daughter, Kirsty. However, Julia suffers from a severe case of bored housewife syndrome, disappointed in her life and unfulfilled, marrying into this family. She was actually more in love with Larry's douchey bad boy brother, Frank. The pair had an affair, he enticed her, and she'd do anything for a good roll in the sinful hay with him once more. Luckily for her, her wish comes true. Frank's revived through dark hell magic and offers her the deal of a lifetime. Join forces with him and they can be together once more if she aids him in some sinister magical scheme, to which she slowly but surely hops aboard. Movie 1 shows Julia evolving into the villain, from jaded housewife into a full-blown Black Widow serial killer working by Frank's side. She lures poor guys back to her pad for pleasure, only to kill and feed them to Frank to grow his flesh back, soon gaining a love for being bad, which gets worse as the story treks on. Frank and Julia rise as a villain couple together, and she even sacrifices her own husband Larry so Frank can wear his dead brother's skin. Unfortunately, she ends up betrayed by her man when he literally stabs her in the back to have all the power alone, damning her to hell. But this wouldn't be the last we see of her. The sequel's villain, Dr. Chenard, desires the hell magic for himself, resurrecting Julia from her deathbed, where the duo fall in love and join forces as a new villain couple. Turns out Julia had a dark awakening. She realizes that she loves being evil, and seeks to rise up as Queen of Hell, acting as a herald, serving her new master, Satan.
The God that sent me back. The God I serve in this world and yours. The God of flesh, hunger, and desire. My God.
In a really incredible dark turn, Julia goes from a total nobody housewife into the wannabe Queen of Hell, seeking to usher the rapture upon our world because she's horny for power. Dr. Chenard and Julia work together, where he slowly helps her regain human form, evolving from a sexy mummy into a full-fledged succubus. Her stepdaughter Kirsty learns the hell magic's back, leading to the pair confronting each other once more over the fate of life, with Julia gaining a new arrogant attitude and a level in badass.
Oh, come on. No! Take your best shot, Snow White.
And I think she's one of the darkest mothers to ever have. Julia is initially a bitter, jaded jerk who sought some thrills, only to devolve into a monster. Mrs. Cotton becomes a smug, power-hungry, sociopathic femme fatale, doing anything she can to gain her hell throne, sacrificing her soul, her humanity, her husband, her lovers, and even her own stepdaughter to gain it. This is the darkest rise to infamy any mother could truly obtain, embodying how sin corrupts even the most elegant lady into a disgusting ghoul. At one point, Kirsty and Larry regretted how unfair they were toward Julia joining the family, only to learn that they were entirely right in distrusting her. A mother so evil that she'd literally throw it all away to rise up as an evil queen.
You never could hold on to anything for very long, could you, Kirsty?
Oh, be careful what you wish for, Ethan Winters.
Sleep tight, everyone's favorite vampire waifu made it. Lady Dimitrescu has rapidly evolved into a top-tier scary mother and sexy daemon. Resident Evil 8's a mega crazy game, but one of the biggest highlights is an evil matriarch man-trap dubbed Lady Dimitrescu, who also happens to have some mini-boss daughters, so she high scores on my list. Lady D's a monstrous evil overlord who rules over a poor, vague European village alongside her mother Miranda's family. All the relatives are based off of classic monsters, with her being the vampire. Lady D owns a big fancy castle which our hero Ethan Winters must breach in order to rescue his daughter, only to encounter her and her wicked, horny/sadistic girls. Lady D is your trademark stalker enemy type, a colossus force of nature who tracks and persistently terrorizes you all level, like the Bullet Sponge's Nemesis and Jack Baker. But along the way, you get those fantastic character interactions and lore, building up the greater storyline. Lady D's a bloodthirsty, yet graceful and vain ghoul who thinks of her family, and especially herself, very highly. Mother Miranda's forces find Ethan and each act as a boss fight for him until he gets closer to cracking the mystery. But you'd be forgiven if you thought Lady D was the mastermind, as she's the poster babe for this title. She appears to be a giant 10-foot tall prim royal, but is truthfully a monster in disguise. What makes her worse is that she's also the mother raising 3 psychotic daughters to be just like her. The sisters worship their mother, cherish her as supreme queen, and all act as mini copies of her, carrying on her thirst for blood, princess demeanor, and violent tendencies. Though, ironically, despite being a savage monster, the female-oriented family do have a tight bond, as Lady D grows furious when you slay each of her kids.
Cassandra! No! How much blood and sweat do you think it took to raise those daughters? You have incurred an impossible debt!
However, in this case, her care for her daughters only highlights how sinister she is, as she wants them to be killer vampires just like her. And she even partakes in the joy of hunting down Winters when he becomes a thorn in her side. Though throughout her embarrassing losses, Lady D starts showing a vulnerable side to her as well, since she used to be Mother Miranda's favorite until Ethan and Rose arrived, where she starts breaking orders and showing a broken side to her, prioritizing herself above her outside family, making it clear that mommy has her own mommy issues. Though you all know her unrelenting poacher skills and craving for blood are what truly make her scary, as she's a merciless monster, slowly losing her composure the more you defy her. And Lady D's grace and gothic beauty instantly shed when you encounter her final form, a ginormous phallic dragon.
Flesh, bones, I will devour all of you!
Her anger and sanity slippage lead her into her final boss mode, a big fairy tale dragon who Ethan must slay, where all her bottled up emotions and blood rage bubble to the surface in one epic duel, avenging the equally evil children you took from her. In a game all about the fears we have about parenting, it's appropriate how this lady embodies a vile mother's wrath, demonstrating how there's nothing scarier than a broken parent taking down the one who took their kin down to hell with them. Didn't think I'd forget my Haunting Hour fans, did you? This ghostly mom made it on my top 10 worst Haunting Hour parents, so of course she'd return here. La Llorona is one of the most ghoulish parents of horror myth, as this was a mother so awful, she became famous for a murder-suicide. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Maria. She was the most beautiful woman in all the land. Men wanted her, women wanted to be her, and her looks charmed every person who gazed upon her glory. One day, she finally fell in love with and married a cowboy who swept her off her feet and bared children with her. She was so happy and fulfilled until she lost it all. Her husband eventually left her, bored with their marriage and desiring more out there, ditching his wife and kids. Maria was devastated. She was alone, heartbroken, stuck with 2 kids she could never feed, and her looks began to fade. So she did what any rational mother would do. She drowned her kids to death in order to stick it to her ex-husband.
You bitch, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
However, she regretted what she'd done as she lost her only family, and was more alone than before, resulting in her killing herself by drowning too, sweeping away in the river. Alas, her soul never found peace. Llorona returned as a vengeful spirit, haunting our world, killing anyone who dares to pity her, corrupting other mothers into being just as bad as her, and snatching unsuspecting children to replace her own, only to drown them when she realizes they aren't her real kids.
Mrs. Nelson, are you okay?
And to me, that's the worst thing a parent could ever achieve. The weeping woman is a bitter woman scorned, lashing out at the world and killing many souls because of her poor life choices. She believes that her real kids are out there as ghosts too, and is trying to find them, only to take away other people's kids from their lives, never once taking accountability that her horrific fate was caused by her own lousy choices.
Women.
Now, in most adaptations of this lady, we never truly see how good or bad her mothering skills were. But I'm going to say not good, since she ended up offing her own children out of blind rage just to get back at a guy who also clearly didn't love them, which is a combo of tragic, cruel, shallow, and horrifying. If her backstory isn't enough to see her as a monster, well, her designs are also ultra creepy. Reborn as La Llorona has given her a deathly ghost appearance, scratched out eyes from all her crying, a pale dress, and a supernatural voice to call upon and seduce her victims. The Haunting Hour made far better use out of her than her own movie did, as she slowly possesses and feeds upon the grief of a divorced mother, so as to get close to abducting her children as replacements for her dead kids, mind-controlling them, luring them away to doom, and soon enough outright attacking them to force them by her side. There's only one way to defeat her, and that's by avoiding eye contact and showing zero pity for her. But getting through to her is the real challenge, leading to some spooky shenanigans of exorcising her from your home life. A specter who never ceases crying over her mistakes, La Llorona sticks out as a morbid mother who's hard to wash away. After all these years, Norma still holds up as the pinnacle of child abuse. Psycho is a classic horror title because not only is Alfred Hitchcock at his peak, but it has one of the most iconic monsters of cinema, Norma Bates, the mother of twist tragic villain Norman Bates. Despite her son being the face of villainy in the Psycho saga, it's his mother who drives all conflict. Norma Bates is a monster, an abusive, shrewd hag of a woman who was so wicked that her child abuse towards her very son caused him to spiral into a serial killer. Norma was controlling, bitter, cold, anger-prone, emotionally manipulative, hypocritical, and so codependently attached to her son that Norman was not ever allowed to have a life outside of her, nor speak with any woman ever. After the death of her husband, Norma was so unhinged that it broke her entirely, where she forced her own son to practically indulge in incest together because she was that sexually starved. Needless to say, this broke her boy's mind. Norman never got to grow up, experience the world beyond that of a child's mindset, felt like he needed to stay by Mother's side at all times, and unfortunately became sexually confused. Mother would force him to love her in very bad ways, be her boy toy, and would abuse him in horrific methods, such as denying him any girl except her, or forcing him to wear dresses to break his mind.
Look at yourself, boy! Ha! Girl! Yes, girl! Mama's little girl!
That's a clean burning hell, I tell you what.
Norma's parenting was so abysmal that even after death, she still haunts her son. Norman was eventually discarded when Mother managed to somehow land a new man and threw her broken boy toy away, leading to him retaliating by poisoning her and her lover to death. However, because Norman was so codependent on her, he went insane and developed a split personality to live and act like she was still present, making it seem as if Norma was still alive and talking to him from beyond the grave. When in reality, it's Norman's broken mind painting delusions and hallucinations to carry on his normal routine as if nothing ever happened. Which should show you how bad this twit screwed over her kid. And if we truly side with Norman's point of view on her, then everything he does as his mother reveals that she was a psycho too. She always treated him badly, yelled at him, was rude to all women at her motel, and would violently kill them if she perceived them as obstacles in her path, making her possibly worse than any of Norman's stories imply.
No one ever clean me and my son.
Adding more layers of fear to her, for at least half her screen time, we see Norma as a gross decaying corpse, which her boy tends to and keeps in shape, acting as if she's still alive and not a living doll he pampers. Her design alone gives anyone nightmares just as much as her living self ever could. Olivia Hussey and Vera Farmiga portrayed her when she was alive, and both have rather unique takes on her. Vera plays Norma as more so a tragic villain, as she's not evil, yet a grossly incompetent single mom, struggling to take care of her family, only to downward spiral into villainy as the pressure drives her nuts. However, as campy as she is, I do prefer Olivia Hussey's take on Mother more, since the prequel reveals that she was always a total psycho who projected a ton of her negativity onto Norman, which created a clone of the very monster she herself was. As simple as it is, I think a bad person spreading bad onto others is a lot more impactful. Nevertheless, this mom's a scare master. She's so evil that she haunts her son like a ghastly ghost. Norma Bates, a cinematic savage so deranged that she's anything but a best friend.
Remember, Norman, I'm the only one who loves you. Only your mother truly loves you.
My mother doesn't have buttons? Do you like them?
I'm your other mother, silly.
Now we're getting into some ill mamas. The Other Mother has gone down as one of the creepiest mothers of children's horror, and it's not hard to see why. Coraline is a troubled half-pint bitter about moving to a whole new area, and is having serious family drama as she feels her parents don't understand her. However, a supernatural force invites her over to her world, a better world where all her dreams can come true. Enter the Other Mother, a divine entity who warps reality with a portal hidden in Coraline's new home. She lures depressed or troubled kids down to her realm where everything is picture perfect. You can gain anything you want, everyone cares about you and your happiness, and better versions of everything live for your benefit, including people. However, there's just one catch. The Other Mother offers to let kids live here forever in exchange for their eyes.
We only want what's best for you.
Oh shit! Oh shit!
The Other Mother slowly reveals that she's a demon, a child predator who convinces children to abandon their family or droll world to live here with her, whereby taking out their eyes and replacing them with buttons, she steals their souls. And Coraline quickly finds out that perfection always comes at a hefty price, where the two duel as her benefactor seeks to claim her, while Coraline wants out. And the Beldam chips away all her kindness to expose the sinister creature she is deep down. The other mother is actually something the ghost kids refer to as the Beldam, a demon who takes the form of people you love so she can trick kids into loving and trusting her. The movie keeps it vague for the longest time as to what she truly desires through abducting people, as both Coraline and the Keith David cat theorize that she could be a single demigod who truly craves something to love and call her own family. Or worse, she may just eat the souls to fuel her power.
Mothers don't eat daughters.
I don't know. How do you taste?
I kinda lean towards the more sinister path of devouring children, since we see that she's really a ferocious spider demon, and this world's literally her web. And just to make her darker, we see that the Beldam has murdered quite a few kids over the years. Coraline speaks with 3 spooky ghost kids who act as her guides, hinting that they weren't the only victims of this witch. As if it wasn't bad she's a child predator, she's also a child serial killer. Coraline is not her first kid. She's just the first to break her spell in a long list of souls, where she and the audience learn more and more about her, the other mother's false advertising incarnate, giving kids what they desire, only to consume their lives in the process. Teaching kids a harsh lesson on how maybe they should cherish their state of life a tad more, mixed with a metric ton of stranger danger. This world is not the child's kingdom, it's hers. She just needs those forsaken children to be her batteries. Although she's not their real mother, it makes her demented enough to score silver on this list. The Beldam's a key example on why some souls should be sealed off from memory.
You know I love you.
Before we reach our number 1, here's a few dishonorable mamas. Scoring gold medal is the Xenomorph Queen of the cosmic horror Alien saga. It was a hard choice to pick the scariest mom of all time, but I think this is the bad mama. The Alien franchise has had its ups and downs, but whenever this woman appears, things get royally demented. The saga has always been about the Xenomorphs, these unstoppable, perfect killing machines of an alien species, terrorizing hapless victims in grotesque ways, until one by one, they're all dead. And starting with the sequel, we learn these monsters have a mommy. The Alien Queen is so gnarly, fright-sgusting, sadistic, evil, powerful, and is the mother of a race of equally savage killers like her. Near the end of Aliens, Ripley discovers the source of her archenemies. The Xenomorphs have a queen bee running the hive. The queen's duties are crapping out billions of eggs, leading the family, and raising her numerous children into the ways of conquest, as all the Xenomorphs live to do is kill, kill, kill. They either rip enemies apart or use them to birth more of their kind. But as we and Ellen learn the hard way, this chick is no lazy armchair commander. Aliens is a tale about two mothers doing anything to protect their young. Ellen Ripley finds newfound motherhood in raising Newt as a foster daughter, while the Queen protects and eventually avenges her dead babies, showcasing a rather epic quest on two mothers doing everything in their power to save or care for their young. You know the story. Ellen murders all her kids and nearly escapes, but haha, the Queen proves to be a fully capable fighter who executes her foes herself. Big epic death battles, hot chicks throwing down, blood, violence, and queens kicking royal arse. This fight was so iconic that even Paul W.S. Anderson repeats it when the queen duels Sonya Lethane and a predator to death too. Persona-wise, the queen's exactly like her younglings. She's an animal, bloodthirsty, savage, fearless, yet also displays clear intelligence, strategy, and can endure a lot of damage, which makes her far scarier since she's not as frail as the other mother or Mrs. White in a real fight. Also, unlike Queen Bansheera, she actually succeeded at killing her powered armored nemesis.
Arrgh! My groin!
Though, adding to her already formidable giant-sized menace, the Queen's also a conqueror at her core, as the Xenos have successfully invaded and taken endless planets, cities, and lives. She's the Insect Queen, guiding her baby drones into committing heinous evils as vile as her own, generating endless waves of child killers to carry on her terror legacy. How can anyone not see that this is the scariest beast of a parent to ever walk the stars? In one timeline, she even kills Shinnok, a mother so lethal and mighty that she's the parent to a race of ultimate killing organisms. There's no doubt in my mind, the Alien Queen is bar none the scariest mother of all horror.
Alien wins. Fatality.
Only your mother truly loves you.